Pulse. Shoulder, water, arm.
We've got several things to do today, but we do want to just give you just a short history of this site. In 1865, April of 1865, General Canby with the Federal Army had come up from Mobile to this site, and Richard Taylor had come down basically on a railroad car that was right out here where you see the little walkway with the railroad line. He came down on a push car. He got off here and met with General Canby to sign the surrender papers. The site was known as the Surrender Oak site, and just in front of the building here, pretty close to where the flagpole is a little indention. And this is where there was this large oak, probably as large as one of these, where they set up the table and signed the surrender papers there. And we're here today to memorialize and to remember that particular day and those men. And Patriot Beetle Bailey is going to actually read something for us. Go ahead, Beetle, and share with us something.
Thank you, Steve. It's really an honor and a privilege to get to be a part of this, because these guys in 21st Alabama have been doing this for years up here. They've been up here doing this, but nobody else is concerned about it. And God bless you guys for doing that and keeping this heritage and history alive. It was about 16 years ago, the first time I ever met Mr. Jesse Taylor was right here, right out there on the corner of that cabin. So that's kind of really special to me. I just regret that it took us so long to get to be better friends. But of course, as time went by, we got better acquainted, and I'm real proud today to say that Jesse Taylor is my friend, and I'm certainly honored to have a descendant of General Richard Taylor out here today. When I look around out here, I think about the emotions that must have been present here that day. On one hand, you had the Federal Army here. Obviously, they were elated. There was jubilation knowing that these guys were fixing to do a surrender, the last major surrender of the war, and they knew that in just a matter of time they'd be back on their farm in Ohio, they'd be back at their mill job in Illinois or somewhere, and it would be over with for them. On the other hand, you had a Confederate Army out here that was faced with sadness and anxiety. Sad, obviously, that they had fought a good fight, but they had been overrun by manpower and resources, and anxiety because they didn't know what the future held for them. And obviously, with what happened in the years after the war with Reconstruction, we see that. But nevertheless, General Taylor did the most honorable thing that he could do that day by offering to surrender, and really the man had no choice, so the only honorable thing to do was to surrender. Here's General Taylor's comment about the situation. Granting the cause for which we had fought to be lost, we owed it to our manhood, to the memory of the dead, and to the honor of our arms to remain steadfast to the last. Obviously, General Forrest and General Maury were involved in this surrender too. General Forrest surrendered up at Gainesville, Alabama. Maury was in Meridian because he had evacuated Mobile. General Maury sums it up the best. General Maury's farewell address is one of the best farewell addresses that was written by any Confederate general, and I'll close my comments with his address. Soldiers, our last march is almost ended. Tomorrow we will lay down the arms we have borne for 4 years to defend our rights, to win our liberty. We know that we have borne them with honor, and we only now surrender to the overwhelming power of the enemy, which has rendered further resistance hopeless and mischievous to our own people and cause. But we shall never forget the noble comrades who stood shoulder to shoulder with us until now, the noble dead who have been martyred, the noble Southern women who have been wronged and unavenged, or the noble principles for which we have fought. Conscious that we have played our part like men, confident of the righteousness of our cause, without regret for our past action, and without despair for the future, let us tomorrow, with dignity of veterans who are the last to surrender, perform the sad duty that has been assigned to us.
At this time we will retire the Confederate colors, symbolic of surrendering, and then we will fire a salute for the Federal and Confederate soldiers in their honor. Get the details. ladies got prepared to surrender their arms and their accoutrements, many of them took their flags, their banners, and they cut them into small pieces and distributed them among the men. Many of these flags were sewn and made at home and sent to the units. And it represented their families, it represented the ladies back home that they were fighting to protect. And many of them left there with a part of that flag on them. Many of the flags were folded and hidden in coats. Many of them were surrendered. This time we'll have our salute.
Attention detail. Ready.